Hello, everybody. Welcome to Planet Workspace. This is episode 4 of Crew Technology / AppSheet Training's GDE webinar. And so today we have me and Ben. And so nice to meet you guys. Me and Ben are from Texas, soon to both be Fort Worth, which is incredible. We would love to hear from you guys, where you guys are from, and just love to see how far around the world we are right now. But we're going to go ahead and jump in with an icebreaker for Ben and I. And today's icebreaker is if you could have an API developed for any product you own or anything in your life. That way you can automate it maybe using AppSheet or something else, app scripts, whatever. We threw out an idea of like a traffic light API or something like that. Don't know how useful. Definitely not legal. But do you have any ideas?
Yeah, I play a card game, Magic the Gathering. And it'd be nice if every time I bought a card, it automatically got logged in like a system, so I didn't have to scan it in.
No, so you have like you have a database that logs all your cards.
Yeah. To do it right now, I have to do a little scan of each card. It takes a long time.
So you could technically play digitally, couldn't you?
Yeah. There's some ways to do that, but even just to like when I'm building new decks to know what cards I do have and what cards I don't. Nice. I think that'd be pretty cool. Nice.
Yeah, one time I built an app for my disc golf bag of all the different like disc golf discs I have. Along with where you guys are from, go ahead and shout out if you guys would add an API to any product or workflow that's in your life. Man, what would I add it to? I had an idea, but it'd be like cool to have like a chess API or something just like in my brain of like me being able to like query and run like analytics on all the games I've ever played, regardless if it's like online, over the board, whatever. Like for it to like be able to query openings and win rates, and that'd be cool. It'd be like a little search engine / feed engine in my brain. It'd be fun. Also, for the refrigerator would be incredible.
Yeah, to know
knowing what's inside your fridge and like the percentages of or like the volume of milk and all that stuff
left. Yeah,
that'd be pretty sweet.
That would be sweet.
Well, welcome everybody. We're about 4 minutes in, so we're going to go ahead and get started. First, I'd like to introduce our crew, which is me, Camron, and Ben Anderson. We are both GDEs in the category of AppSheet. And so if you guys look at this acronym, you guys have no idea what this is. It's a program held by Google called Google Developer Experts. This means that a Google employee has chosen you to be called the Google Developer Expert. And you get this by being an expert in developing in one of their products, also by being a large voice in the community, advocating or educating people in that product as well. And so for us, me and Ben, we are experts at AppSheet, and we do a lot of education here on YouTube and active on the forums. And so my name is Camron, been working at Crew for 7.5 years. I'm not quite sure anymore. I think it was 2018 that I became an employee, but not quite sure what that means. I am the product manager of our YouTube channel, as well as the developer, and I'd like to introduce Ben as well.
Yeah, my name's Ben. I have worked at Crew just a hair longer than Camron has, a few weeks, maybe a month. I been doing development work for most of that time as well. I'm currently director of development operations here, helping us make standards to streamline development processes and help our clients have more reliable experiences.
Let's go. And since Ben has taken over that role, our company looks so much better. And it's a role that has been a huge benefit for our business. But first, on our agenda is Ben is going to be talking about user permissions tables. And so I'll let you take it on from here. Just let me know whenever you want your screen up.
Yeah, absolutely. So this has been something I spent a long time trying to work on. AppSheet has a little bit of user permissioning built in, but it's just user and admin. And I find almost always that there are more than just two levels of user types, or even just more than one column that we want to be able to filter by when we're developing apps. And so I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what the best option for this was, because if we, for instance, have a user table, an employees table, and we only want certain people to be able to edit it, then we can't do certain controls based on the table itself, right? And so it makes that a little more complicated if we're just trying to have one table. But if we try to manage a second table, you have to update rows automatically in one when you update rows in another. And that just becomes difficult. But it's nice to be able to have a table that filters down to a single row that you can use everywhere in the app. And so today I'm going to walk y'all through how I would set that up and what it looks like in the app, and why I think it is easier and a little more beneficial than just having a single user table. So yeah, Cam, if you want to go ahead and share my screen, I'll show y'all. I have a very simple app outlined here. Right now, it's just got employees and jobs, right? Then this app is...
If you want to zoom in just a tad, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for letting me know. Collapse that a little bit. So yeah, we can see here, it's very simple. I'm just showing what this really looks like. But if we look at the job table and I click in on settings and security, we can see a security filter I have made here that has a section in it that checks to see if the current user is an admin. And right now, it's not an overly complex expression. If you've been using AppSheet for a long time, this probably looks pretty benign to you. If you're new to AppSheet, this probably does look pretty complicated. And I've definitely hopped on consulting calls where this is the exact thing we're trying to learn. But my goal is to make this expression a little simpler. When I have to type this over and over again in the development environment, it becomes extremely tedious. And I can't always just copy and paste it, because there's times where I want certain views to show up for one role and certain views to show up for another. And I found myself typing this expression over and over again in slightly different ways. And so instead, I want to make this a little bit simpler. It's also a little less efficient because I'm running the same select just over and over and over again. That being said, I don't want to filter out all of the employees, because I want to be able to either interact with their records if I need to as an administrator, or be able to allow other people to assign those employees to other things, or see which employees are doing certain jobs. So what I'm going to do instead, we'll see here that this is the employee table in this SQL data source here. So I'm just going to go ahead and add another table, and I'm actually going to do the same table. And so this might not be something you are aware of, but you can actually add the same table more than once. And this is going to allow us to do some pretty cool things. I did mean to rename it, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to name it user permissions. I think I spelled that right. And I'll go ahead and save this. So from here, we can see it's all the same information, and you really can just leave these all as texts if you want. But I will change this one to a date, and I'll change the rest of these to normal text. Actually, I will change that one to an email. And I don't need to worry about, having all of my enums that I have in the employee table set up exactly, because in this table is only going to be used as a reference point. So from here, I have an exact copy. It's bringing in every user, but I only want this one to bring in the user of the app. So I'm in the security filters. I'm just going to type email equals user email. Okay. So what this does is this makes sure that every time this is loaded, that the app gets loaded, the user permissions table is only going to bring in a record for the current user. From there, instead of having this long expression here, I can replace all of this with user permissions and whichever column I'm trying to filter by. This is so much easier to type in when I'm trying to do this over and over and over again than having to write out that entire select expression. This, as a developer who's in these apps all day, every day, saves me just a ton of time. Now, because we're only bringing in one row, because this is a read-only table, this table itself is also not adding much load time to the app itself. So we've done very little to increase sync times, but we have made it significantly easier to filter based on different things in the user's table. The status is whether or not they're retired. And so I can filter now by if they're retired, the role, and when they retired a lot more quickly in all different places of the app than I would have been able to previously. So anytime you are going to be utilizing user permissions significantly in an app to show or hide views, to show or hide certain data, I highly recommend this approach to the user permissions of your app. I just find it a great quality of life update. And these days, pretty much every app I'm making, I'm bringing in the user table twice. So yeah, that's what I've got to show y'all today. I really hope this helps you with your development in the future.
That's super cool. I just threw in a poll in the chat about who knew that you could add multiple tables to AppSheet, and add the same table multiple times, and 100% of them all voted that they did not know that.
Yeah.
And if I could vote, I would be in that no also. And so that's really cool.
Will say I think it is a little harder with Google Sheets if you're using that as a backend.
Okay.
I think the old it was possible in the old editor, which you can toggle here. But I think recently with the updates they've made to the adding tables in the new editor, which I think is a great quality of life update as well, where you can add multiple tables at once with the checkboxes. It doesn't allow you to from there. So if you're using Excel and you're having trouble, try it in the old editor. I think it's possible. That being said, it is definitely possible if you're using any SQL database. So
that's crazy. That's awesome and good to know. One of our videos on this channel, it's a YouTube short, and it's me going like, this is the first thing I do every single app I build. And it's adding a current user slice to the user table. And that idea right there, it's very similar in the sense of like how easy it is to get and query that thing. But also you do have to realize that slices are regenerating, and so in this instance, you literally just have, on first sync of the app, you literally just have one record that you're referencing, and it never has to recalculate, never like is confident it needs to recalculate or anything. And so that's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's a really handy addition.
And it's cool because you can also access more than just roles.
Yeah, it is really nice to be able to get any column from the table really quickly. This is also helpful if you don't use email for the primary key of your user table. If you have an ID column instead, it's especially common in companies that have like employee ID numbers already.
Yeah, and are using a database where this is connected to something else of AppSheet previously.
Exactly. This is also super handy to be able to get the user's current email instead of, the current user's ID using their email. This is a really great way to do that as well.
That's awesome. Yeah. Sweet. Well, we'll go ahead and move on to my segment, which is an AI changelog. I did it. I found the first ever useful business idea of AI, and so everybody clap for me. And so along with user permissions, you guys can add this to every single app you guys own. It's awesome. It's like today you guys are learning 2 things that you can add to every single one of your apps. And so let's go ahead and get into a changelog. So at the very basis, it is a changelog. And so let's go ahead and check out the changelog abilities. And so first, let's go ahead and add a client. What should this client's name be? One of those that aren't on the left. Name a company.
Let's do Crew.
Crew. All right, so we got Crew Technologies. All right. Did I spell that wrong? Yep. All right, what are we building? Crew Projects 2.0?
Yeah, let's do it. Needs an update.
The Crew Projects is our project management application. And so we're going to revamp it, do 2.0. All right, so it's currently not started. Let's go ahead and hit save. Every time we start a new project, what do? We add a Trello board. And so we'll add a task that says add Trello board. If you're wondering how I got this pop-up right here, this is using the input feature. And our last webinar actually covered building this right here. And so you can follow along with that one and build this. And so Trello board, you can ask Matt or Joshua how long this takes. I'll put in half an hour, which I don't know if that's realistic or not. I don't have Matt or Joshua in here, so I'll select Stefan. And then let's go ahead and say that they completed that task. And so they went in here and they said for the Crew Projects task, they went ahead and added the Trello board for it. And then let's go ahead and go back to the project management side and hit a new task. And we'll say create table schema for the new app. All right, that's going to take 2 hours, let's say. I'm going to task bin with this. And then after he's done with that, I'm going to also get him to generate the AppSheet app. That should take about 1.1 hour. So I'm gonna get Ben to do that also, since he's the one doing this work and he already understands the schema and everything. Might as well get him to set data types. And that's gonna take 1 hour. Send that to Ben also. And then last but not least, let's go ahead and get him to set the formulas and the initial values. That's going to take 3 hours, let's say. Get Ben to do that. And then last but not least, since we have Ben and we have proper DevOps processes, QA Ben's work. And we want to assign that to Landon. So that's going to take 1.5 hours. And then last but not least, we need the document. So create base documentation for this project. And that's going to take 2.5 hours, let's say. And we're going to get Will Giles to do that. All right, we did a lot of stuff for that project. We went to 1 to 10, just like that. And we are actually ready now to get this project in progress. And we like going by Crew Tech instead of Crew Technologies. So let's go ahead and change that to Crew Tech and hit save. And then you see that it's syncing right here. Let's go ahead and check out what it's syncing. If we go to changelog, we have every single one of these changes made. And it's not just showing the full record of what of all the values of the full thing, but instead what it's doing is it's summarizing each change individually. And so we have Gemini, we got a Gen AI generating these description of what happened in that change. And that's being done by sending Gemini a description of what happened in that change before and after the change. And so we're able to see the previous values and the old values right there. And so there's no previous values because it was an add and all the values are null. And then we have all the new values of what was added. All right. Raphael, thank you. I appreciate it. Been cooking indeed. But not only the add, we have all these other changes as well. And as a project, we're also recording all the project tasks as part of the changelog for the project. Because ultimately, just doing a changelog for just the projects is a very partial picture of the full image. And it's really the tasks that show the progress of the work. And so let's go ahead and go back in here and complete some of these tasks. And so let's go ahead and say Ben completed this, then generated the app, then set the data types, you set the formulas, and Landon QA'd the work. Let's say Will hasn't quite added the documentation for the project yet. And so the project manager would come to this app, not really have full understanding of what's gone on in the app. And what they could do is Joshua, our PM, could go to Crew Tech, go to the changelog, and try to read what all these are saying. You can see that some project tasks got added, that they've also been completed. Even though this is putting in English sentences that are easy to read, it's hard to think of these in bulleted items. And so what we have right here is Ask Crew Assistant. Whoa. And so you choose the project, and it shows all the change logs related to that project. And you get to ask a question. And so you can say, summarize the state of the project as of now. So I spelt summarize incorrectly. And then we can go ahead. I'm just going to copy this just in case I want to iterate on it. But we can hit save. And it's sending all these change logs and the question and recovering response to our question. And so, okay, it created this, which is a little bit chaotic. And it's almost like a bulleted list of major things that happened and tasks that are part of it. Let's go ahead and try iterating on that. And so let's go back to Crew Projects and say, explain in 2 sentences. Let's say less than 100 characters. Or less than 40 words. Let's copy this. And we're going to give a quick explanation of where we are on this project. So let's speed it up by hitting the sync button. And so the Crew project is currently in progress. It has 9 tasks, 6 of which are in progress and 3 which are complete. And so it's a really cool, don't think it's actually 100% accurate. There's a few more that seem to be complete. But let's go ahead and check out how we did this, but let's go ahead and try a few more fun things. So let's do a summary of the app. Write a summary for this project. Then let's say in the form of a haiku. It's fun.
Let's see if it can
speed up this generation.
Was it 575?
Project created for Apple. iCar production manager. Status changed to in progress. Not the most beautiful haiku, but let's try a short poem real quick. So I imagine that is a literal haiku though. Okay, in the form of a poem, and then let's say include a few things. Okay, so we want to include CEO, and we'll say Stefan Quartamont. Spelled Quartamont wrong. And we're going to say Director of DevOps, Ben Anderson. Developer, Camron, Lupton. And then let's do AppSheet, Gemini, and AppScript. All right, and then let's say in the form of a poem, between 100 and between 70 and 100 words. That way we're not here all day reading.
Does it take longer to sync depending on how complex the prompt is?
I don't think so, really. I think most of the processing time is really based off of the connection of connecting to Gemini with AppScript and then sending it back and creating the record and it recognizing the new record and bringing it into the app.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. But I think there's probably about a 5-second variable on complexity, I would say, which I don't think is the majority of the time. All right. And iCars. Oh, did I choose the wrong project? I chose the wrong project. Sorry. Let me do this real quick. I'll just paste that new summary, right? The new request right there. All right. In Crew's realm, a project takes flight. Crew Project 2.0, a beacon of light. Stefan, the CEO, guides with his might, while Ben, DevOps Director, ensures all is right. Camron, the developer, weaves code with care, creating tasks a symphony beyond compare. Add Trello, he says, a step towards the goal. As Ben's team toils, their expertise takes toll. Create table schema, generate the app, set data types, formulas don't track. QA Ben's work, Landon's watchful eye, ensuring quality soaring high. Will crafts documentation, a guide so clear. As the project progresses, its path becomes near. From not started to in progress, it grows. A testament of teamwork as the story goes. Now in progress, the project's flame burns bright. A symphony of effort, a collaborative flight. Crew's vision takes shape, a dream come true. As the project unfolds, its destiny anew. That's pretty good. Fire, yes. Absolutely fire. But let's go ahead and take a peek at how I do this. And so if you just want to change the log without AI, you can just create a bot just like this. And whenever a task gets created, you on an add, edit, or delete, you just put those values right here in the change log. And so I wanted a change log that was capable of logging multiple tables. And so some change logs, the approach is to have like a column for every column in the table that it's logging. And so you would have like a project and then a project change log table that's specifically for that one table. But I wanted it to combine multiple tables. That way it would have a more holistic perspective of what's going on in the full app. And so what I'm doing is I have a key of the record. I have a table that's coming from, and then I have a project key. And so regardless if it's the project that's having a change or the project task that is having a change, it all is able to be searched together using the project key. Also record a lot of the stuff about the nature of the change using timestamps, user email and stuff to say who edited it. Also got clever using things like the view and the view type. That way, if something happened that's really weird, you could maybe figure out if it was the reason of the view that it did the weird thing. Maybe it happened on a quick edit inside of a detail view or something like that. And so I did all this stuff, but the magic is actually happens is this right here, generated summary. And so this uses the output function from the previous action in this bot. And so what this is doing is it's sending Gemini two variables. One is the temperature. If you're not familiar with AI and what the term temperature is, it's the amount of randomness that the model is prompted to use. And so if I ask for a haiku about one project that's been started, in progress, completed, and that's all, and then I do the same thing for a different project, with the temperature 0, it's likely going to be pretty similar. And so if you're giving it a format of like, hey, I want you to say Camron deleted this project at this time, you want lower temperature. But if you want it to be a little bit more creative on how it says that, you can increase the temperature. But the main thing that I'm sending is the changes. And so right here we have the changes before and the changes after. And so you don't really see a lot of the changes that are happening right now. And that's because if you go to the table of projects, I have a huge concatenation that's saving every single time I update the app. I update the record. And so it says, this is a record, this is recorded attributes of the project task, inserted ID. And then I use this right here because I want to substitute this with a text value that I can't determine at this point of the expression. And so I use this $$ before after, because whenever you are inside of a bot, you can use this row before, this row after. And I say, this was what it was before the add, or I could say after the delete. And that way I give the two different versions of it to the app. And I'll show you that substitute expression. And so essentially what this says is, with all the variables filled in, this is the record of this is recorded attributes of the project task, and then it has the ID before added by Camron Lupton at July 10th, 2024 at 2:30 p.m. And then it says, here are the actual fields I want you to track. These are the things that actually make up the essence of a project task. And then these are just context of the nature of the change right here. So this is just context of the add, edit, or delete. And so this just says like when, where, who by it's done by. And so whenever you send this value from what it was before the change and after the change, Gemini is able to understand the delta, the difference between the start, the before and after, and summarize the difference. And so that's what I'm using this app script over here. So you will not be able to see the API key because I have it hidden over here in property and project settings. And so no free Gemini tokens for me. But if we go ahead and go to this first one, this is the one that summarizes either projects or project tasks. This one's for projects. So I'm saying to summarize the following in concise sentence, no more than 20 words. For an example, I want it to say, Camron created this project. Camron edited the name from inventory app to inventory management and client from Nike to Foot Locker. Example for delete would be Camron deleted this project. And then right here, I have this variable right here that concatenates that original prompt with the changes I'm sending from AppSheet. And so what it does is it returns it. And as long as you have this return right here, this returns the response of the Gemini query. And that response is accessible only whenever you have this option checked off, return value. You can determine the data type of that change. But the way you use the output is by using this right here, task summary dot output. And so you can see that in action right over here. And so it actually spits out the value of the output from the app script. Okay, so that is how I do the individual changelog records, and those are cool. Those are great. It's not the biggest thing that you have human readable sentences of what the changes were, but the cool part is this ask crew assistant. And so what we do for this is fairly similar. We have this table right here called ask data, and we have related changelogs and projects. And so you choose a project and it returns a list of all the changelogs related to that project. So this is the context for the answer of the AI that it's going to return. And then you have your question, and then after it does that question, it gives you a response. And so let's go ahead. This might be best illustrated inside the app. So we have crew assistant. We choose crew projects too, and we see all the context that Gemini will use for this project, for this question. But if we switch over to this leaderboard app, we have a different set of changelog records for it to answer the question about that project. And so if we go back to the bot for that, we'll see that we're creating all we're doing is changing the response in the second thing. We're just setting the value of the response, but the way we get the response is by this. So I have a few different prompts. I build it all in AppSheet and then just concatenate them simply inside of app scripts. And so I have this base prompt right here. Essentially, it says that you're going to receive changelogs from projects and project tasks. I want you to respond in an English sentence using the data and the schema definitions as context to respond. I didn't always like the way it responded. It had a basic nature, like a automatic nature to try to respond with like CSV or respond with just like bulleted list of data, and it just didn't look good. And so I wanted it to not refer to the project as the ID, but refer to it as the actual name. I wanted it to use short and concise sentences and don't over-explain unless asked. And then I asked it to respond with sentences instead of just pasting data. But you can still maybe ask for CSV format or JSON format. So it starts with that base prompt. It inserts the question that you asked it or the request, and then it's a list of all of the changelog new values. So all the data, all the values after the change for each change. And then I did a little lexicon of what the different columns are. And so for a client, this is the name of the client we are building the software app for. So I just give it more context into the actual business logic behind each column. And then from there, it goes into here in Gemini, and I have this ask data function, and it just connects, it creates the prompt using the base prompt, the question, the request, the list of data changes for the context, and then the actual column definitions of that last thing I showed. And then it returns the content and saves it to that record in the app and shows up for you right there. And so that's how you build a changelog. Might create a longer video on how to build this. Love to hear if you guys like this. But yeah, do you have any questions, Ben? There's a lot. Or do you want to try anything on? Oh, you're muted. Sorry.
I apologize.
Okay, great.
No, this is really cool. I'm really bad at writing AI prompts. I've trained so long just for how to ask Google for the information that I'm looking for, which is completely different than asking Gemini or any of these models.
I find it's similar to doing the rubber ducky exercise.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You're correct. This is interesting. This is, like you said at the beginning, one of the most practical examples or use cases I've seen so far for utilizing AI for work or inside of AppSheet, outside of the image recognition. So I'll say this is the most applicable, I think, for our business that I've seen.
Yeah.
Some of the image recognition ones are really cool as well. But yeah, I don't know.
I'll go ahead and end it with this prompt.
Yeah.
What are the remaining tasks of this project? Write up an email for me to send to each of the tasks owner. Write up an email for me to send to each of the task owner, requesting them to complete their cards by end of week. All right, so copy and then hit save. We can maybe try to speed up the query by hitting sync. Probably doesn't do anything, but remaining tasks are right here. And here's an email subject for each for that. And we can say, so it actually did not do a separate one for each employee, and it kind of wants you to fill in a task. We can go ahead and try email for me to send each, write up a unique email for me to send to each of the task owners, requesting them to complete their cards by end of week. Maybe that'll be enough. All right, I could probably mess around and try to find the perfect prompt that gets it. I actually did do a a similar prompt that I posted inside of our chat not too long ago. But yeah, we'll go ahead and move on if you guys don't have any more questions. Yeah, so this webinar is not brought to you by any sponsor. We are 2 employees of Crew Technologies, and we offer development, consulting, and support solutions for your AppSheet apps. And so we love being able to add to the community, to catch up AppSheet as a Google product with all the education that is available for all the other products inside the Google ecosystem. And yeah, if you want to learn more about AppSheet, you should subscribe. You should follow along with all these videos, all these webinars that we'll be having. We also have paid webinar and paid courses on our website, appsheettraining.com, and we'd love to have you there. And you can check out a lot of cool courses that cover things like mastering expressions, like doing PDF reports and all that good stuff. And so thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll be here in 2 weeks, same time, same day, Thursday, and we'll see you next time. Bye.